Mize was a member of this Grange and also a member of the Kiwanis Club. And his picture is hanging just to the right of the flag. This Grange is 105 years old, and we plan to continue to help shape the county. Join the Grange and be a part of the grassroots contribution. Applications are available downstairs with cookies and drinks when this forum is over. Your donations to the refreshment goes to the Lone Grange Scholarship Fund. And this year we gave out 3 $750 scholarships. Is Simone Sylvester here? Jada Rathjen. Terrell Kronk. You're not here, you were invited. Simone has been accepted to the University of Puget Sound in Tacoma. She plans to study physical therapy and alternative medicine. Jada Rathjen will be attending Whatcom Community College this coming school year before setting a direction for her future. Terrell Kronk plans to attend Eastern Washington University in Cheney. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Russ Weston, who is not only a member of this Grange, but also a Kiwanis member. Russ?
Thank you, Glenn. Yeah, we have this live on the radio tonight, and thanks to some sponsors: Elizabeth Bennett with the Bellingham Kiwanis, Nancy Larson Kalakowski with the Bellingham Kiwanis, Ken Knuckles with the Bellingham Kiwanis, the Bellingham Kiwanis Club of Bellingham, Larry Helm from the Rome Grange, Glenn Hawley from the Rome Grange, and myself, Russ Weston. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Washington, Charlotte Shores.
Russ pretends to not know me, but he makes fun of my hair every week. So, thank you, Russ. The Kiwanis Club of Bellingham is pleased to once again partner with the Rome Grange in delivering this important public affairs event to help Whatcom County residents become more familiar with the issues and candidates in the upcoming election. As Glenn had mentioned earlier, Bill Mize was a Kiwanian and a Grange member. He was dedicated to helping our community understand important political issues, as well as focusing on Kiwanis values, which include serving children's needs in our community and around the world, as well as supporting initiatives that make our community a better place for all residents. So I'm going to explain a little bit of the format tonight if you're not familiar with it. How it's going to go is each candidate will have 1 minute to introduce themselves. A 15-second warning bell will sound to let that candidate know their time is almost up. When you hear that bell, it doesn't mean your time is up, it means start wrapping up. You'll have 15 more seconds. At which time people with questions for that specific candidate should line up at the microphone right over there for the question and answer section. If you've been at the microphone already, please yield to others first, give everyone a chance. A loud bell will end this section. The Q&A session will be 5 minutes for questions from the audience with the preference given to opponents. Questions will be limited to 15 seconds, so you only have 15 seconds to ask your question, at which time the bell will ring to end the questions and let the candidate answer. Quick answers will allow for more questions. So this section will have a 15-second warning bell, at which time the candidate has the floor. A loud bell will sound at the end of the time, and the next candidate will be called to queue up. The candidate has 30 seconds to summarize. The bell will sound loudly to end that candidate's session. At the end of the forum, there will be cookies and drinks available downstairs, and please stay and talk to your candidates for a on a one-on-one basis. If you are here as a candidate and you did not RSVP, please let us know, and we will make sure you have your chance at the microphone towards the end. We want to make sure everyone who has come to represent themselves has the opportunity to speak tonight. So we will start with Mount Baker School District, or Board School District, District 4. We'll have that candidate come up, who is Jim Freeman. After him, if the Port Commissioner District 1 candidates can be ready, kind of in the wings, so that we can have you come up next, and then we will move on from there. So I'd like to welcome up Jim Freeman.
Thank you, and I'll just give a little background.
I was a teacher for 34 years before I retired from Mount Baker. 28 of them were spent at Mount Baker. And that was in 1998, and then I was asked by a group of citizens to run for the school board. And so I've been on the board since 1999. And we live on the Mount Baker Highway, well actually right beside it. It's not good to live on the Mount Baker Highway. You're welcome. And we've been there since 1973. And my wife and I have been married just about 51 years. And we had 3 daughters, and all 3 of them graduated from Mount Baker. So I'm very pleased to be on the board. It's a good group. Nobody has a special agenda. We all do what is best for the education of our kids. So if you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to give it a try.
Jim, yes, Russ Weston here.
Mm-hmm.
Are we on? Okay. And yeah, just thank you for being here. Just wanted to know, can you tell us a little bit about what school board people do? That's a kind of a broad category that not many people know about.
Yeah, we hire the superintendent, and that's the only person we hire. The superintendent then hires other individuals throughout the staff. So we work closely with the superintendent. The superintendent reports to the board. And in our particular case, we have 2 board meetings a week, or a month, I'm sorry. 2 board meetings a month. And the second Thursday and the fourth Thursday of the month. And that's 1 more meeting than we used to have when we first started on the board. Plus we also, once a month, visit one of the schools for 2 or 3 hours, speaking with the principals and the teachers. So the involvement of the board is about 10 hours. And there's more to it than that, but I'm going to run out of time in that response. So, Larry.
Hi, I'm in the Mount Baker School District, and as you're aware, we raised money for buildings and stuff, and my property taxes went up, I think, about $98 a year ago. I'm anxious about what's going on with reconveyance and the loss of logging revenue. What are you going to do to make sure that we don't need to pull more money out of our citizens to support the lack of taxes?
Well, with the reconveyance there, if that goes through, Mount Baker will receive a $500,000 endowment from an anonymous donor. So the $500,000 is going to help us maintain programs. The amount on your taxes went up a little bit because our levy passed, and we thank you for passing that levy, because with that levy now we have been able to reestablish our full-time kindergarten programs, which we had to cut because we were a little bit short of funds. So the levy plus the exemption that the state of Washington received from the No Child Left Behind program. So ironically, less money from less requirements from No Child Left Behind actually helped us help kids catch up. So it's kind of ironic. Did that answer your question?
Well, I'm going to be here longer than 5 years, and we're losing $100,000 a year with the loss of logging revenue, and you're only getting $500,000. So what are you going to do when that runs out?
Well, the other side of that was we were involved in a lawsuit with the State Department of Resources. And we won part of that lawsuit because they weren't paying us enough in the past. So we won that part. However, the lawyer that we had representing us said that if you're going to try to get the money in the future, you're probably going to lose. And so our decision at that point was, do we take this $500,000 or do we take the risk of running a lawsuit which would cost us $200,000. And so we figured a bird in the hand was worth two in the bush, so we went with the $500,000. So that was the reasoning behind that part. Are there any other questions?
You have 50 seconds.
I have 50 seconds, okay. Well, you know, I've been a teacher for 44 years. So even after I retired from Mount Baker, I considered that a mistake about 30 days after I retired. I missed teaching right away. And teaching to me is not what you do, it's who you are. And I think we've got one right there, sitting right there, Todd Reitmeyer, who can attest to that. So it's a passion, it's a calling. And this is my way of responding to that calling, is by being on the school board. So thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Next up, we'll have the Port Commissioner District 1 candidate, starting with Dan Robbins, followed by Renata Kowalski.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting us to this forum and being involved in the political process. My name's Dan Robbins, and I'm running for Port Commissioner, District 1. The Port has three major goals. One is transportation, two is job creation and retention, and the third one is economic development. In my professional life, I've been a job creator the whole time. I've been president or vice president of 7 different businesses, all very successful, and 5 of them right here in Whatcom County. I've served on 9 boards, and I feel I'm qualified to be the next Port Commissioner for the Port of Bellingham. You can reach me by going to my website, votedanrobbins.com, and I thank you once again.
Mr. Robbins, we hear a lot in political campaigns about creating jobs. I wonder if you could give us how you explain what creating jobs is all about.
Well, you hear that nationally as well as locally, and thanks for the question, and let me give you a good example. The Greenberry Industries, which is down on the waterfront, that's building the Shell recovery oil system that they towed to Alaska. That company brought in $230 million into our community last year. We need more businesses like that. That company needs to relocate, and what they do here in Whatcom County is only about a 20th of the size of that business. So as your Port Commissioner, I would encourage the executive director, and I would volunteer to help him go after those types of jobs. And that's what I'm talking about when I say create jobs.
You know, I've been watching the development of this port down at the GP site for as long as it's been going on. And I have a lot of comfort level about it when you're having a marina that's going to generate a lot of revenue. It seems like the marina's in, the marina's out, and now it looks like the marina's out. So do you propose to make up those revenues that are lost from a commercial marina by taxing the whole county, or have you given any thought to that?
Are you talking about in the lagoon down there not having a marina? Well, as far as I know, that's still in the plan. The marina is still in that plan down there. The marinas, both Blaine and Bellingham, are about 95% capacity. And in some cases, they're at 100% and there's a waiting list. Anything in boats over 40 feet, there's not a slip here in town for them. So, not to my knowledge has that been changed. I think it's still in the plan, and it's been voted on by all 7 city planning commissioners unanimously, and I think it's in the plan.
recently there was a plan to extend the bridge from Boulevard Park into what hopefully will be our waterfront at one point once we finish cleaning it up. Do you support connecting the park with our potential waterfront or not?
Boulevard Park?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, when you bring people to town, people come in from out of town, the first place you take them is somewhere on the waterfront. Down to Boulevard Park, you do the Taylor Walk, you have dinner down in the Bellwether area. It's a beautiful area, and to continue that along and tie it in with a walk coming towards the park, which there will be a new park, lots of parks and trails. It's going to be a multi-use area, and yes, I do support a park there.
Dan, the Port Commission is the Port of Bellingham. Can you expound on what some of the facilities are in addition to the waterfront and the airport?
You know, it's kind of a it's kind of a misname, if you will, because it includes the marinas, and that's the Blaine Marina. The port also has some property out in Sumas, along with the airport. So, you know, it's more than just the Port of Bellingham, but that's the name that's been there for a long time, and I think people just relate to that. But it includes a lot more area than just the Port of Bellingham. Thank you very much. 30 seconds to wrap up. Well, my grandchildren have waited a long time to have me say this, but you can reach me on Facebook. Vote DanRobbinsPortCommissioner.com, or you can meet me, go to my website, which they're really impressed with. As I said before, vote Dan Robbins. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. All right, please welcome up Renata Kowalski.
Good evening. My name is Renata Kowalczyk, and I am running for Port of Bellingham Commission out of District 1. When I was 23, I left the oppressive economic and political system of communist Poland. I came to America with $20 in my pocket and 3 sentences in English. But I worked hard, and eventually I received a degree in economics and accounting. I have a great career in the financial sector in New York and executive MBA from Columbia Business School. My jobs allowed me to thrive in my new country, and that is why I'm so passionate about creating good family jobs here in Whatcom County. That means really listening to the needs of our business community and our residents, and positioning the port as a leader in supporting and attracting the kind of companies that create jobs in line with our values. During my corporate work and now as a small business owner, I specialize in creating strong partnerships, helping businesses work smarter, save money, and be more transparent. Please vote for me in November. Together we can put the port to work for you. Thank you.
Hi. It's the same question. Do you support a marina so we have a lot of commercial revenue coming in so we don't have to raise our taxes as much?
I'm glad you asked the question. Marina is an interesting project because it's 20 years out. And right now, we have a demand as far as we know. And we also don't know the price of that project 20 years out. So as someone who's really looking after how we spend our money, how your taxpayer dollars will be spent, what I would like to really look under the hood and understand what is the real demand, and if this is going to generate the kind of revenue impact and jobs that we're really looking for the investment that we're planning to make out 70 years out.
You briefly mentioned your business experience. How would your business experience help you improve our port?
Thank you for the question. The first place that I'd like to look at, I have an expertise in efficiency and streamlining processes. So I believe I sit down with the county executive, and I know that there are efforts in the county to bring processes and make them leaner, work better for your dollars. So the first place I'd like to use my expertise is to make the organization, the port, leaner, smarter, working more efficient.
The last gentleman just spoke about a ship or something that was built in Bellingham Port to go to Alaska for Shell. The idea of that would be to drill in one of the most environmentally sensitive areas in the planet. Would you take that into account as a port commissioner?
I believe that our economic development needs to be in line with our values. And that is why when we, as an economic development expert, when we look at economic benefit, we look at the complete and whole benefit for the whole community as well as the environment. So before we invest monies, I would like to evaluate every single project from the impact on creating jobs, as well as an environment, as well as our social impact on our community.
So, Renata, could you tell us your thoughts about a private organization who would like to invest nearly $700 million in our community, and what you think about that after what you just shared with us?
What kind of organizations do you mean?
Talking about Cherry Point and the Gateway Pacific Terminal project.
I'm glad you asked this question, because I've been looking at it from a perspective of the port. Port has a responsibility on your behalf to take care of the assets that are along the waterfront. So although Port does not vote on the decision with regards to the terminal, the impact, the potential impact that I have concerns about, and I really would like to understand them better, is the increased traffic on the along the waterfront. As a business person myself and someone who coaches businesses locally, I would like for the businesses to have the opportunity to be in the most optimal site that allows them to grow. So the question would be, would the increased traffic impact the values of the property?
Have you been attending Port Commission meetings and seen some of the business that they've been dealing with, and is there anything in particular that really piques your interest?
I'm glad you asked that question, because that's actually the answer. Part of my answer will involve something that I'm really passionate about, and I want to actually bring that as one of the first decisions. So I am a working full-time business owner. When I made the choice to run, I reorganized my life and my work with my clients to be able to attend those meetings, starting from yesterday. Up to this point, I relied on minutes. So one of the things that I would like to really bring forth, and it's not a major investment on part of the port, it's actually $10,000 a year only, to have those meetings be televised. And if they could be even moved to a later time where others who work full-time could attend, that would really provide something that I am committed to, and that is an open government and transparency. So every single one of you can be a part of those decisions. Because today, that does not happen. Oh. Since 1920, the Port of Bellingham has belonged to you, the voters and the taxpayers. And I am here to make sure you benefit from its existence. I'm asking for your vote so together we can put the port for you, for your dollars and for your votes. My name is Renata Kowalczyk. I am running for Port of Bellingham District 1, and you can find me on renataforport.com as well as on Facebook.
Thank you, Renata. Next, we'd like to welcome up Port Commissioner District 2 candidates, starting with Mike Macaulay. Is that right? Thank you.
So first, a quick thank you to the organizers of the Bill Mize Forum. Over the decades, this has been a great opportunity for candidates and the citizens alike. Yes, I am your Port Commissioner, Mike Macaulay. 4 years ago, you asked me to help realign the Port of Bellingham to its core mission. As one of 3 people on our commission, I have worked tirelessly week in and week out to fix some of the biggest problems in the waterfront plan, support our commercial fishery, which is actually an expanding economy in our county, reach out to businesses in our region to help support our local economy, and even find new opportunities as far away as the Alaskan Arctic. I am also struggling with our current commission, whom I believe are weakening the working waterfront in Bellingham. I have pushed our director and staff by demanding a better effort at environmentally friendly money-saving operations like the installation of the single largest LED streetlight project in this county that saved taxpayers $10,000 on the installation, and they run 60% more efficiently. In my first year, I got you a 5% cut in your port taxes, and in this cycle, I'm working on a shift of 10% more of the budget to infrastructure construction that supports our working waterfronts from Fairhaven to Blaine. A strong port does not create jobs, but we do set the stage for those who can.
Mike, can you tell us a little bit about the land exchange that the City of Bellingham and the port did in order to make a park available and industrial land available?
Sure, I supported that land swap for two reasons. One, I don't believe that the port should spend too much time dabbling in park creation. I think that we have county and city parks departments that do that better than we do. And so if we're going to spend tax dollars on it, I'd rather it come from one location. And then the land that the port was able to take over from the City of Bellingham, it helped us focus our efforts on what the port does best, and then of course what the city does best.
You mentioned that you were going to shift some money into infrastructure. Could you talk about why that's so important for the port?
The needs across the port, I spoke with the port's chief engineer just this past week, and they're probably $300 million or more in infrastructure upgrades that we could be making at the port. Of course, we're not going to do all that because we don't have that kind of money. But what we have not done very well in the past is think ahead of time what's going to be needed and making sure that that's ready for the business community to take advantage of. We have reacted well, but I don't think we've been forward thinking enough. So I would like to shift some more of the budget this year into infrastructure improvements.
In terms of the voting public, there are a lot more people who look at the port in terms of an environmental perspective than who look at it in terms of a business perspective or a tax revenue base. How can you balance the public pressure from the environment against the needs of businesses and employees? And I'll ask that question of the next candidate too.
Well, that's something I've been working on very strongly for the past 2 years with regards to our working waterfront. The Port of Bellingham is the single largest cleanup operator in this county. We're probably involved in over $150 million in cleanups right now, but the Port of Bellingham is not a cleanup agency. We're just doing the work because we have to do it and we own the property. It's the right thing to do and I support it. However, in regards to our working waterfronts, I don't think we're doing a good enough job on spending our time and money on making improvements in our working waterfronts. We're doing the cleanups, but I think we need to refocus our efforts on the improvements for the business community. We focus our money on that, and we help our business community. Then, where we need to make an effort in the environmental side of the house, we do that, but we have to be more careful about how we spend our money and find real opportunities to create better habitat in Bellingham Bay and possibly even up the Nooksack Valley. We're going to spend the money anyway. I'd rather spend it in ways that benefit the ecology.
Do you think we're going to move forward at a faster pace than we have in the past with the conflicts between the City of Bellingham and the Port of Bellingham in the waterfront development?
I've had good responses from our city council, some of whom are here tonight, Bellingham City Council, and I believe that Mayor Kelly Linville is very supportive of that. I believe that I've been leading the way. I'm pushing very hard on getting the granary back on the market. We're waiting for staff to get behind that project right now, and I'm also pushing very, very hard on getting one of the closed crossings on the railroad track along the waterfront reopened as soon as possible so that we can get that land up for sale.
Mike, we've talked about this, but do you still support the marina as far as needing commercial dollars to offset taxes?
Well, I'll tell you, the tax dollars, your tax dollars in Whatcom County do not support your marinas. The money generated in the marinas supports the marinas. We call it a closed loop system. If we build a new marina, it's going to add to our economy, but it's not. If we don't build it, it's not going to cost the taxpayers a cent. Now, I'm troubled by the new marina because it's a $70 million project if we built it tomorrow. If we build it 20 years from now, it'll be way more expensive than that. Now, if we don't build the marina, that structure, that ASB lagoon, it has volume, and we can sell the volume because you'll have to fill it in. So either way, I think there's a benefit to the community, whether it's a marina, which we know what the value of that is, or if we don't build a marina, we can sell the volume.
Hey, Mike. How does the airport benefit the budget
for the port. Now, I've asked you about this before because I hear from a lot of constituents who are upset about the noise and the traffic and security and everything. But talk about the airport and how it impacts the community, and is there any financial benefit that we get?
The advantage of the airport for the local community is we've got over 600 jobs we know that are directly related to the airport, and of course it does provide access to the rest of the country for the local population. I will tell you that personally I am done supporting the airlines that are only offering tourist flights, and I am only interested at this point of supporting any new flights that will go east and west to support our business community, and I'm very much supportive of finding a way to get direct flights to Southeast Alaska to support our better connections to the Alaskan economy. So again, thank you. I've worked hard to be the most open, trustworthy, and approachable commissioner in the port's history. The giants of our ports past, like Zwanich or another fella also named McCauley, they led the way back then, and I'm honored to have served you for the past 4 years. I ask that in November you vote McCauley for Port Commissioner so we can continue moving Whatcom County's port into the future. Please find my vision for the port online at mikeforport.com. That's mikeforport.com. And look for me in your neighborhood across the county at our series of conversations this summer and fall. I am Mike McCauley, your Port Commissioner, and thank you.
Thank you, Mike. We'd now like to welcome Ken Bell.
You had no problem with that name. Nice hair. Just saying. The unfortunate thing about tonight is that we're talking to the same people we will always talk to, and that there aren't more people in this room, because the issues that we're facing are bigger than this audience represents. I'm first of all glad that the other port candidates got all the background information out of the way so I could just deal with some of the other things. I'm a business owner. My company is called Best Recycling. I've owned and operated recycling companies in 3 states and Canada. My largest operation was in Canada. I know ports. I know shipping. I've dealt in ports in Antarctica, in Greenland, in Chile. I've seen big and small ports. I know what it takes to operate a port. So as a businessman, I feel that it's time that we depoliticize a lot of what we do at the port. The port is not a political operation. The port, for the most part, operates a business, and that's what we do. As a business owner with a number of employees, I want to bring that expertise to the table.
Hello. I'm a small town planning commissioner myself. I hear you're on the planning commission, is that correct?
I am indeed.
Okay, my understanding is that you've only attended about half of the meetings. So I'm wondering, how should voters know that they can take you seriously, that you're going to show up for your port commission meetings if elected to that? Thank you.
Wow, they pulled the bullet out of the gun early, didn't they? It's a very simple question. I'm on the planning commission. The Planning Commission, first of all, your facts are probably not correct as half. I would challenge that number. But my job takes me to a faraway place called Antarctica. And when I deploy, I'm gone for a long period of time. And the people on the council, when they voted me in 7-0, understood that. I made it clear to the chair, I made it clear to everybody that there are times when my job is going to take me away to go to places like ports. From the port commissioner standpoint, I have rearranged my business. As a matter of fact, I flew into Denver today to see the brand new luggage thing at the port. Nice job, Kent or Mike. Because we've reorganized, and my goal is to be there for every meeting. So my company has now been put in the hands of people who will manage what I used to manage. My deployments will not be as long. I recently received a long-term contract from Lockheed Martin through the National Science Foundation, which required me to be out of town a lot more last year than I've ever been in my life. Ask my wife. So it's personal to me. I don't want to be gone. I don't want to be away. I have a family. So we have now taken it personally that I'm going to be home, and I have people who will deploy on my behalf.
Same question. The fourth branch of government, the environmental lobby, how will you balance that off against businesses?
The fundamental purpose of the port is to keep, we learned today in a meeting with the rest of the port directors, it was founded in order to keep monopolies from being created. It has turned into an animal that now is more economic development than it is anything else. And that's the primary purpose for the port. We have a cleanup we've got to do. We've got to do it in an efficient manner. I understand the liabilities that come with that. I've closed landfills, I've done cleanups, I have chased plumes until you're blue in the face to get environmental cleanup done to the standards that are required. I understand the cost, I also understand the liability that hangs over somebody's head. There's a delicate balance between leaving a liability in place that hangs over your children's heads and building. We've got a huge liability sitting out there, and a huge amount of effort has gone into creating the agreements that have gone in place to do that cleanup. Now we're perfectly poised to start to build this port in a way that will create more economic development, that will bring in the kinds of jobs that I've seen everywhere. I've seen amazing ports, and I go not as far away as Grays Harbor. Best port I've ever been in is Port of Grays Harbor. They don't attract companies. What I do is I sell. I see a perfect opportunity for us to get the city of Bellingham together with the Port of Bellingham to bring us together to find people who will come there and to sell them on the fact that they need to bring their jobs to this community. That's first and foremost. The intent of your question, I'm not certain, but I get both aspects of this, but we need to bring people in. Where's my softball?
Same question. How do you feel about the marina? Do you support it?
Yeah, the marina is if it weren't so far out, it'd be very easy to say yes. But it's 20 years away. What I support is bringing something that will start to create some economic activity at the port as soon as we can. I support the proposal that Western is bringing money into the port to buy property. I support letting the marketplace see what it can bring to our port property as soon as we possibly can. So what I would like to see is how we can increase the number of jobs that we have down there and let the marketplace tell us when and where that should be. Well, he kind of took some of my thunder. I understand environmental cleanups. I understand business. I understand employees. I'm a salesman at heart. And I believe that we have this very short period of time. This port election, I think, is one of the most important in our time because we have a waterfront that in the next 4 years we have the opportunity to shape. And if we miss it, we're going to forever be the ones who missed it when the time was right. The time is now to bring the city together because we've got a cooperative relationship with the mayor and the city. We can now take this opportunity to go out and attract people as a community. And I think that I'm perfectly poised to do that, to bring all those people together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. We'd like to welcome up the Whatcom County Council at Large candidates. We will start with Red Brown.
Ready? Hi, I'm Red Brown, and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a product of the American dream. I know what it's like to struggle with no money. I had to quit school early to help out my family. And I started a business, though, in 1989 in our apartment with an idea that grew into a company that created 360 jobs, 140 of those right here in the county. I have an accent because I was born in Australia, but I became an American citizen because I chose to make my life here, to grow my business here, and to raise my family here. And I did it because I think Whatcom County is the best place to live on earth. And I've been here for the last 20 years. I've been a member of many community service and business organisations since I arrived. A list of these in my full biography is available on my website, voteruddbrown.com. I'm running for Whatcom County Council because I want to help others create jobs without damaging our environment. I want to use my business experience to reduce unnecessary bureaucracy, and I want to make Whatcom County the greatest place on earth for your kids and mine to raise their families. Thank you. This is going to be a softball, is it, Chair?
Mr. Brown, yes, softball for you. You attended the water symposium along with several of the folks in the room, and the fish, okay, are very important to many segments of our community, and I want to hear your views on whether there's enough water in Whatcom County for all the needs that we have here in Whatcom County, and as part of that, whether you think rural landowners should be able to drill a well on their property if they're just simply going to live on their property.
So the first part is there enough water? Well, I've lived here for 20 years. There's enough water. The question more is whether we're managing it properly, and I don't think we are, because if we were, we wouldn't be having the conflicts in the first place. As far as the right for a well owner to drill, I think if a property owner can use water in a way that doesn't damage property owners around them or damage other industries such as fishing, then they should have the right to do so.
In the last couple of weeks, it's come to my attention that there's landowners who put in for building permits, several to just put an extra bedroom on their house. And when the county staff comes out, they go, oh, they look over on the 5 acres way away from the bedroom area and say, you have wetlands and we're going to deal with that. Do you think that should be going on? Shouldn't when the landowner just wants a bedroom extension, that's the only area the county looks at, not the whole property?
Are you talking about wetlands on their property or wetlands on other people's property?
Wetlands on their property. These people have been doing what they're doing for years, and all of a sudden they want a bedroom, so they go get a permit. The county guy comes out, but he doesn't just deal with the area of the bedroom. He deals with the whole parcel. And what has been going on for years is all of a sudden bad.
So I guess I'd answer this two ways. First off, if the person's not building on the wetlands, I don't quite know how the wetlands comes into the process when the county guy comes out. The other issue is that if you've got an environment, oh, well, sorry, my understanding is, for example, if the guy's using it for farming,
right,
and it's a wetlands area for farming, he's allowed to farm, even if it's wet.
Not anymore. Not after that visit. They're restricting.
Okay. I'd have to look at the specific issues.
Right.
I mean, I have a piece of farming property in the county.
The question is, if they're coming out just for the bedroom, do you think they should just deal with the bedroom and not all this other stuff?
Well, again, you're not providing a lot of details about the specifics. If the person is doing something that is obviously a code violation, and it should be obvious to the owner that it's a code violation, then that shouldn't be a surprise that that's brought up. But if he's doing something that's not a code violation, I don't know why the guy's bringing it up.
We have a lot of diverse personalities on the county council and a lot of diverse backgrounds on the county council. I was wondering if you see any skill gaps on the county council where there really needs a different set of skills to be involved.
Well, I think on every levels of government, I think we need more people who've actually had experience creating jobs, or frankly, the experience in understanding how to bring employers into the community. And I've had both of those, so that's one of the things I'm hoping to bring to the community, bring to the county council.
The county government deals with millions and millions of dollars and need to be in capable hands of people who can handle large sums and large amounts of management. Can you tell me how much did you sell your business for?
I can't answer that question, but I can tell you that the number of people I employed in my business was about half the number of people who are employed by the county government.
There we go.
This last week, the Growth Management Hearing Board ruled on water use in Whatcom County. Do you see your role on the council to support legislation or state rulings, white card, or do you see your role as questioning the input of some of the higher bodies?
So if I'm elected, my responsibility is to represent all the people of Whatcom County. That's my first responsibility. It's not to represent the state of Washington. That's what you hire state legislators for. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Are you gonna fight for Whatcom County, or are you gonna play the Washington bureaucrat game?
I will represent Whatcom County. Yeah. So I'd like to thank our hosts and our audience for this opportunity tonight. I'm running for County Council for several reasons. I want to create 21st century jobs without harming our environment, because I believe that our great natural environment is the key to the creation of those 21st century jobs. I want to create jobs that will mean that our kids won't ever think about living in Whatcom County. I want my grandkids and yours to live across the street, not across the country. If you'd honour me with your support and your vote, I promise to work as hard to make Whatcom County the greatest place to live on earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Red. Before we invite Bill up, just want a quick reminder that please limit your questions to 15 seconds to allow the candidates as much time as possible to answer all the questions. So please welcome Bill Knutson, our incumbent.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming first. And my name is Bill Knutson. I'm running for re-election to the Whatcom County Council. I've heard some grumbling about how people don't want to hear another tired story about another multi-generational resident of Whatcom County running for office. Well, I'm the fourth generation of the Knutson family to proudly call Whatcom County home. That's why I'm running again, to make this as good a place for my kids to raise their families as it was for me to raise mine. I also want them to have the same opportunities that I had to succeed, with rules and regulations that are fair for all. I want my grandkids to someday tell me they are as proud of being the sixth generation to call Whatcom County their home as I am to be the fourth. I want you to know I'm here for the long haul. I'll be here today, I'll be here tomorrow. I grew up in Whatcom County on a dairy farm, and raised my kids on a former dairy farm that I still live on today. There's been a lot of changes in agriculture in Whatcom County that I've seen in the last 50 years. Some of it good, some of it not so good. 4 years ago, I ran for county council over my concern for farmers, and have worked diligently to be a voice of reason for agriculture on the council. Thank you.
Same question, Bill. If the county comes out to do a bedroom, should they look at the whole property, or should they just stick with the bedroom area?
Well, it seems like when people are going to get a building permit, sometimes we have a little too ambitious of a staff sometimes on some of these things, and they make getting a building permit an exercise in futility. It seems like I spend one day a month down there with somebody that has one of these issues, whether it's wetlands, whether it's the fact that the health department isn't communicating with the planning department, or they're getting shuffled from one agency to the other. And we've done a lot of things in the last 4 years to make that process better. We've streamlined the permitting. We've come up with a lean strategy. We've also had planning and development staff going to relationship classes on how to deal with difficult situations. So there's been a lot of changes that we've accomplished, but it's like anything in government. It's like dancing in peanut butter. Nothing goes fast. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm running again, is I think there's still some work to be done.
I've been to several meetings in the last year with two visions of 1,500 1,500 acres on Cherry Point. And there are two visions happening right now. One is a coal port, which is this vision, and GPT, the Gateway, has produced 35,000 copies of this. And then the Lummies have their vision, which is their burial grounds and their traditional cemetery. How are you going to work with a large population in Whatcom County, the Lummi Nation, with their vision and a vision that another company has?
Well, one of the things you've got to understand is first and foremost, as a county council person, we have a responsibility to all the citizens of Whatcom County. And one of those responsibilities is to do the responsible thing. And as a county council person, we will be required to rule on anything concerning that project as a quasi-judicial body. So We've been instructed by our attorneys to keep an open mind until it's time to make that decision. So as a juror, anyone else would do, they have to avoid making any kind of a judgment on this before the time comes. So at that time, we'll listen to all the public comment, we'll go through the written record, and we'll make a decision accordingly.
Same question, growth management, hearing board, water ruling, outside interests pressing Whatcom County. Are you going to stand up for Whatcom County or stand up for the big money from outside the county?
Well, one of the things that I've said all along is that you can count on me to put Whatcom County first, and I've done that over the last 4 years. People need to understand there's a lot of pressing and ideas out there about law. This is not the growth management hearings court. This is not the growth management hearings judge. This is the growth management hearings board. So that being said, we sometimes might have differences with them, and then we require a legal opinion. And that is why I have chosen on numerous occasions to vote against their rulings and try to defend property owners in Whatcom County that are having their rights being taken away from them. I mean, you have people that have worked their whole lives to buy a piece of commercial property to run their business on, being told that, you know what, your business is no longer an accepted use on that property. It's now a rural piece of property, and if you want, you can build a home on it, but if you want to try to run your business on it, you're going to need to buy a conditional use, you're going to need to get a conditional use permit. That to me is ridiculous. I mean, you're talking about someone that's been paying taxes on a piece of property that was zoned commercial, fully expecting to run their business on it, being told that now that right's being taken away. So yeah, I'm going to stick up for people and hope that you'll respect that position.
Hey, Bill. Do you support the extremely large sheriff's new sheriff's headquarters, 3 times the size of Ferndale-Hagen's, that is being tacked onto the new jail project?
Well, Richard, you should have came to our meeting the other day, because you'd understand that we've hired an agency to go out and do the responsible thing. Tell us what size of jail we're going to need for this county. Tell us what's the most responsible kind of structure to build from all standpoints, whether it's environmental, green, energy solutions, all the things that we need to look at to make a decision, and that's how we'll make our decision. I want to thank you all for coming here. I'm Bill Knudsen. I'm a proud father of 3. I'm a proud foster parent of many. I'm a proud husband of my lovely wife, Sandy, for the past 25 years. I'm a proud business owner and entrepreneur, and I'm proud to call Whatcom County my home for the past 51 years. I'm honored to have been your council member for the last 4 years, and I hope you vote for me in November. I'm Bill Knudsen, and you can reach me at knudsenforcouncil.com, as well as Knudsen for Council on Facebook. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bill. We'd now like to welcome up County Council District 1, Position A candidate, Kathy Kirschner, our incumbent.
Well, thank you to the Rome Grange and the Kiwanis for sponsoring this event. I am Kathy Kirschner, and I'm running for re-election to the Whatcom County Council. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve you, and I'm asking for your support in re-electing me for another 4 years. In 2009, I had an up-close and personal experience with what it means to be healthy, and that is why I want to continue to work hard to ensure Whatcom County remains a healthy and vibrant place to live, work, and raise your families. I think we get there by ensuring that we implement policies that help us to produce a healthy economy, protect a healthy environment, and support healthy people and families in our communities. Looking forward, the Council will be making many important decisions that will affect our community for decades. I want to be your representative who addresses these decisions with a healthy and balanced approach.
Hi, Kathy. You heard the question.
Hi, Larry.
you heard the question about the bedroom and going out and looking the whole property. How do you feel about that?
I think that property owners in Whatcom County deserve to have regulations that make sense. And when they want to add an addition to their bedroom, a person should come out, do an inspection, and tell the property owner what it's going to take to add the addition to their bedroom and nothing more.
So, Kathy, in 2010, you voted against funding the Food Bank and Domestic Violence Commission. This was at the peak of the recession, and I'm just curious why you voted not to support the families in need in our community.
Thank you for that question. And you're right. In 2010, I think it was at my first council meeting ever that we had to vote on that budget item. And I had heard the drumbeat for many, many months about the recession and about Whatcom County and about spending its reserves, and I didn't think we had the money. So I did vote no. But 2 years later, when we redid our budget and we had the opportunity to vote again on the food bank and the Domestic Violence Commission, I did vote yes. And I want to tell you about the Domestic Violence Commission. They provide a great service to our community, and so do the providers that provide the services to the families that are impacted by domestic violence.
I had a follow-up question about the person renovating their bedroom that has the permit guy coming out. What if at that time, you know, there's a truck from Hanford unloading barrels or some other obvious violation? Is there some point at which you would say that an observed violation should be dealt with that's observed by someone working for the county?
Certainly, Richard, and you know, we've got to make common sense decisions about these things. Of course, if we've got Hanford nuclear waste being dumped in Whatcom County, I'd want to be the, you know, at least the second person to know about that after our executive.
What has been your favorite part of the job as county council member?
I have really enjoyed my role as the county chair over the past 2 years. It's given me an opportunity to not only manage some of the council duties and help support other council members, but I've also had an opportunity to invite the public into the council business, and I really enjoy running the meetings, and I think that'd be my favorite part.
So we keep hearing that we need a new jail for the last 4 years, and we keep seeing these plans come forward that are too big and too expensive. And how long is it going to take for the county council to take a leadership role in making sure that we do have a jail that doesn't waste all of our taxpayer money?
I don't think that you have to wait much longer, Riley. I think the Whatcom County Council has taken a leadership role. We've been supportive of the executive's plan to go forward on site selection. We heard from folks that have spent time in that jail that it's absolutely horrendous. It's not safe for the prisoners, and it's not safe for the county staff, and we need to move forward quickly, and that's what we're doing.
Do you think a proposed project that would require 5 million gallons of water per day would cause problems for the county?
Hypothetically, it's possible. 5 million gallons of water a day, I'm not entirely sure how to quantify how much that would be. Is that a couple football fields full of water? But you know, we've got good people working on our water issues in this county, and I'm confident that we will figure out our water issues.
Kathy, some people would like completely unrestricted freedom about their properties, but the group called FutureWise would like to limit some of those things with the for what intent? Do you think they're well-meaning, FutureWise?
I think FutureWise's mission, as I understand it, is to protect Whatcom County farmland. And to that extent, I think that they have been successful, because we just got word on Tuesday that it looks like we've got more than 100,000 acres of Whatcom County farmland in Whatcom County. People that want to do whatever they want on their property. Of course, we've got folks that live here that think they should be able to. That's why you need a county council member who's balanced, who can balance out the needs of property owners and the needs of people that want to protect the environment. And I think I'm that person, Richard. 30 seconds. All right. I'm a retired naval officer, a small business owner, and an advocate for people with disabilities. I live in Bellingham with my husband, John, and my 9-year-old son, Jake. I was elected in 2009 to bring common sense leadership to our county government. I am committed to ensuring that Whatcom County remains a healthy place to live, work, and raise a family. I'm Kathy Kirshner, running for re-election to the Whatcom County Council. I'd like to extend an invitation to all of you to my kickoff tomorrow night, 5 to 7, at the Bellingham Cruise Terminal. I would be honored to receive your vote in November, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy. Please welcome Barry Buchanan.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Barry Buchanan, and I'm running for Whatcom County Council District 1. I am also a fourth-generation Whatcom County native, and I'm running for the council because I want to keep protecting the quality of life that my family enjoyed for over 100 years. Since marrying my wife, Judy, 40 years ago, I've served 7 years on active duty in the U.S. Navy. I worked the last 30 years in the private sector, everything from the Trident submarine program with Lockheed and NASA programs such as the Hubble telescope. And I'm now a small business owner that does management and workforce development consulting. And I also served one term on the Bellingham City Council. One thing I want you to know is my word is my bond, and you may not always agree with every decision I make, but you can always trust me to do what I say I'm going to do. We have many issues before us in the next few years that could forever change Whatcom County, from the GPT terminal to the proposed jail. And I'm running for county council to make sure Whatcom County will always look like home, as it did to my family 100 years ago, and reflect our values. Again, my name is Barry Buchanan, running for District 1 County Council, and I ask for your vote in November.
This is KGMI Bellingham.
Barry, you voted for red light cameras in Bellingham. That vote cost Bellingham taxpayers $100,000 to get out of an ill-conceived contract. Can you explain your reasons for voting for the red light cameras?
Yes, thank you for that question. That policy was a former Mayor Dan Pike's pet project. When we first started that in September, we were given a lot of data from the police chief that supported red light cameras improving public safety. If you check the record of the city council meeting that we discussed this at, I'm on record of making a motion that we needed to have a public hearing before we moved forward on this issue. And everyone agreed. We had the public hearing was scheduled, and then little Anna was killed in front of Assumption Church, September 30th. We decided that the community was too raw and hurting at that point to go forward with the scheduled public hearing, which was scheduled for like 2 weeks from then. So we ended up not having a public hearing. Once the state legislature was there was 3 bills in Olympia on the red light cameras that were going to, in various ways, make them not legal in the state of Washington. Plus, the initiative process had begun in Bellingham. Another council member and myself urged Mayor Pike to not go forward with the contract until we saw what was going to come out of the legislature and what was going to come out of the initiative process. So it's kind of a long answer, but I lost support for that project when I saw where our community was, and we were unsuccessful in convincing him to drop the contract.
Barry, in 2009, you announced running for one position, ran for a different one, and then this year, you've announced one position, and now you're running for a different one. One of the big issues is the comprehensive plan. There's infighting among cities over units, allocated units. Do you feel that you have the experience to help these different jurisdictions pull this together?
Yeah, I think I have not only the experience but the relationships throughout government here locally as well as statewide. I think that's what it takes to come to some agreements on how your UGAs are going to be set up. You need to have that kind of communication between the Whatcom County Council, the Executive's Office, the Mayor's Office, and the Bellingham City Council, and then the small cities as well, because that's a very important component when we're talking about comprehensive plan and setting UGAs and growing responsibly in our county.
Barry, one of your opponents claimed that phosphorus was not a pollutant or a problem for Lake Whatcom. I was wondering if you agreed to this statement and what you're planning to do to ensure that Bellingham continues to have safe drinking water.
No, I disagree with that. I think phosphorus, being a nutrient, it supplies nutrition to the algae in Lake Whatcom, which is our problem. The algae dies, goes down, and it creates an issue where we have less oxygen in the water. So what we need to do is to continue good partnerships with the city of Bellingham. I worked to set up with a couple other council members, to set up a working group between the Bellingham City Council, the Whatcom County Council, and the Lake Whatcom Water and Sewer District to address issues collectively. And I think as we move forward, we can look for more funding. We need more funding to make some of these corrections that we need to do to have better stormwater programs and more education throughout the county and the city of Bellingham. But it's going to take those kind of relationships working together to really get this done.
Hi, Barry. Same question. If the county comes out to inspect the bedroom site, should they look at the whole property or just the bedroom site?
Well, I think it's, number one, it's a case-by-case situation. I think Richard's example of waste from Hanford is obviously an overkill. However, you can't ignore the law if you're an inspector going onto the property and you see something that is really outrageously against code. That's something that I would not support. However, on the other side of that, I don't support making trouble. I would think going out for a building permit, that is the focus of that inspection. Now, if you see something outlandish that's going on, you need to act on it. Again, thank you for having me here this evening. I want to thank the Kiwanis, the Rome Grange, and KGMI for broadcasting us live. And I think that I bring the experience to the county council that is needed. And again, you can trust my word. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And my name is Barry Buchanan, running for District 1 County Council, and I would appreciate your vote this fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. We'd like to bring up the candidates for County Council District 2, Position A, and we will start with Ben Ellenboss.
Hi, my name is Ben Ellenboss. I'm a fifth-generation Whatcom County resident. My wife Jessica and I raised our 3 children on our farm on Van Dyke Road, less than a mile from the farm that my great-great-grandfather brought his family to when they moved to Whatcom County in 1901. On our farm, my wife and I raise and direct market grass-fed beef, pastured pork, and pastured poultry to local food enthusiasts. In addition to farming, I also bring a unique mix of experience to the table. I expect to earn my degree in general studies with an emphasis on natural sciences, with minors in environmental studies and geography from Western Washington University in the coming year. I'm on the Whatcom County Planning Commission. I'm a past president of North Cascade Meats Farmers Cooperative, a member of Sustainable Connections, and I've been active with the Whatcom County Cattlemen's Association. I've also worked at the BP refinery since 2001. I'm motivated to run by an intense desire to protect our farmland by protecting our ability to farm.
I'm not doing the bell, Ben. Over there.
I would like to bring a balanced approach to the public discussion with my diverse background and represent a diverse Whatcom County.
Same question. They come out for the bedroom. Should they have the option of looking at all your property? Although you've got a lot of property, probably not.
Yeah, you know, planning staff has a tough job to do. They have to enforce the law. I do think that it would be beneficial to take a look at what we're defining wetlands as, whether it's a darker spot in the lawn or a functional wetland. I think those things could be better defined.
Ben, can you tell us what you learned when you were out there on that property and it came time to build a home on it. I can still remember hearing a description of some of the things that occurred when you went to get permits for your home.
Oh, well,
Tell us about it.
yeah, it wasn't, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's not exactly, anybody who's gone to build a house hasn't exactly had a wonderful experience, typically. Yeah, the particulars of my situation probably aren't relevant to the conversation, but I have experienced getting permits, and I think that will benefit me as I'm looking on the council at putting in laws in place that are actually workable and easily understandable.
Hello. Medic One, emergency services, there's a bit of a crisis going on with that right now. Would you support the executive's wish to reduce the number of medic units?
Well, I'm a 10-year member of the emergency response team at my night job. So the public safety is paramount, I believe. I don't think that reducing the number of units would be a great idea, but you could probably save money by doing things like putting a paramedic paired with an EMT instead of 2 paramedics on board, or something like that.
Ben, how would you reconcile the differences between District 7 and Local 106 to ensure that we have a comprehensive medical response team?
How would I reconcile the differences between 106 and District 7?
Yeah.
Well, I just have a fairly high level view of that issue. I'd love to get into it deeper. I think that the voters spoke on how they would like to see it implemented, and we should probably respect that.
So far, the county has already spent $140,000 on Seattle-based attorney fighting laws that have been settled back in the 1990s. Will you continue to waste the taxpayers' money refighting and refighting the same court case over the Growth Management Act?
Well, excellent question. I believe that I respect those groups' ability to sue the county. That's part of the process. I also think that it's part of the process for the county to defend themselves. And I'm not so sure that I hear a lot of willfully violating the law. I believe it's more defining what exactly we need to do here in Whatcom County. I think the Planning Commission and I think the council has a difficult job of balancing property owners' rights with the law. Again, I'm Ben Ellenboss. I'm a 5th generation Whatcom County farmer. I'd like to put my diverse background to work representing a diverse Whatcom County. You can find me on Facebook at Ben Ellenboss for County Council. You can find me on the web at www.ellenbossforcouncil.com. I'd just like to wrap up by saying, buy local, eat local, be local, vote Ben Ellenboss, Whatcom County Council.
Thank you, Ben. Please welcome our incumbent, Ken Mann.
Thank you. My name's Ken Mann, and I am your elected Whatcom County Council member. It is a great privilege to represent the many talented, dedicated citizens working to improve our community. I'm seeking re-election because I love serving on the County Council. I meet great people from all walks of life, and I am constantly inspired. On social issues, I consider myself a libertarian. When it comes to spending people's money, your money, I am a fiscal hawk. I am a civil engineer by training. I own a small family business that renovates old commercial and residential buildings. I have a wonderful wife and 2 amazing children who are both still in diapers. I will continue to bring my business experience, my dedication as an environmentalist, and my skills as an engineer to county government, and I will listen to everyone. My mission is to be responsible. My name's Ken Mann, and I would appreciate your support.
Well, Ken, what would you do about the Medic 1 situation?
Well, the Medic 1 situation is very complex. All the issues that we face are very complex. The first step is to bring District 7 and 106 together. Those 2 units have been somewhat at odds lately, and we are making progress. I met with them both last week, and I believe we're making progress to coming back to a unified system, an efficient system, because we have the best system in Washington State. Our emergency medical services are surpassed by no one else's, and we are very lucky, and I will work to protect that.
Hi, Ken. Currently, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, the CAFR, shows about $130 million of extra money in the various county accounts. Objections to this large amount of money not being used for public works has been voiced by citizens to the County Council over the last 3 years to no avail. What would you advise about the use of this extra money?
I'm so glad you asked that question, Larry. So I sat down with some of your friends, Gary and Carl and Chris, and members of the administration to get the answer to that question. Why is there this $130 million balance on the comprehensive financial reports? The answer is that money's not really there. We have massive restrictions on so many different types of funds. We have hundreds of funds. Some of them are restricted to only economic development. Some of them are restricted to roads. Some of them are restricted to interest paid on loans. You can't just take money from the Economic Development Fund and use that to build a road or to fill in. Yes, Larry, you have a follow-up question. Go ahead.
Well, I'll just make the comment. Number one, you guys move money around when there's an emergency. And the other option is, if we're paying taxes for a specific account, lower the taxes if the account has $50 million in it. I mean, it's just building and building every year. I mean, how long is it going to be?
Mr. Helm, I feel your pain. I understand. There are many, many things I would rather spend money on than the things we are legally bound to spend the money on that those accounts are set aside for. And I know it does look like we can move $10,000 or $50,000 here and there. For example, one thing which I do support is we are legally allowed to pay for 2 sheriff's deputies out of our road fund because they are traffic patrol. So that's an example of a road fund using for public safety and sheriff's officers. But the 130 million number is not true. I mean, it's not that it's just sitting there not being used. It's sitting there for very specific designated uses.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry. I mean, I wish I could have a different answer.
Thanks, Ken. Recently, there was a group called the Whatcom Integration Team, the WIT. They came up with a set of criteria. Do you support those criteria, or do you support a more comprehensive approach to water management like the planning unit, which is mandated by law?
I support a more comprehensive unit like the planning unit, which is mandated by law. The WIT was a voluntary collection of appointed and various representative people, and I know they did that ranking system that did not accurately reflect the values of Whatcom County, and we have, as a council, voted to support the planning unit, and I think in all ways we need comprehensive water discussions in this county. And you brought it up before, Mr. Kirk, regarding the Growth Management Hearings Board. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many issues related to water that we have to address, and they're so complicated that we've kind of looked the other way for many years. And it's time to face up to it and make the hard decisions and educate ourselves and all of our fellow citizens, because it's going to take a while.
So Ken, you've supported bringing in wind turbines to Whatcom County. Could you explain your support and what sort of benefits they could bring?
I did support bringing wind turbines to Whatcom County. Yeah, I thought alternative energy and entrepreneurial spirit are good things to encourage in Whatcom County. We had a law on the books that allowed alternative energy, wind energy turbines, and then an application started to come through the works, and the council, because some neighbors were upset, passed an emergency ordinance banning wind energy systems. Whatever you think about wind turbines, that is no way to conduct yourselves if you ever hope to attract entrepreneurs and businesses to Whatcom County. To pass a law banning whatever they've proposed as soon as they've proposed it, good luck with that. Who's going to look at Whatcom County and want to do business? You need some certainty when you're doing business. Oh, it's my wrap-up. Okay, sorry. So my name's Ken Mann. Whatcom County is my home. I love it here. I'm raising my family here. I care deeply about our future. If you re-elect me, I will continue to leverage my strong working relationships throughout the county and among my colleagues. I'm a family man, I'm a businessman, I'm your councilman, and I'm Ken Mann.
Thank you, Ken. We'd like to welcome up County Council District 3 Position A, Michelle Luke.
Thank you to the Bill Mize organizers. My name is Michelle Luke, and I'm running for County Council in the 3rd District. I currently serve as chair of your Planning Commission, where I've worked to make positive change for regular people by clarifying and simplifying issues so they can be made understandable and more workable in the real world. For 3.5 years, 3 guiding principles have served me well and will continue to guide my actions as council representative. Everybody matters. The job of a council person is to be everybody's representative. I'll respect your tax dollars. You work hard to keep your financial house in order. You deserve the same from your local government. And I'll be an active representative, just as I have demonstrated in business and on the Planning Commission. I believe the job is more than just to show up and vote.
Hi, Michelle. Let's go back to the bedroom and inspector looking at the whole property.
Well, I've been thinking about that. And I think that abuse of any kind, if it's noted, should be dealt with. But I also believe that our regulations are a nightmare. We don't distinguish one type of wetland from another. And I think that if you apply to add a bedroom to your home and there's no obvious abuse, that's what you should be dealing with.
Hi, Michelle. I want to ask you a question that I believe you've been asked before. What qualifications do you have to serve on the Whatcom County Council?
Thank you. You've been waiting a long time for that answer. Well, I've been lucky to have had 2 successful businesses. They've been customer-centered, and that's been the key to our success. And then for the last 3.5 years, I've been serving on the Planning Commission. And this is the 3rd year that I've been elected chair. And I have really appreciated working with the group, with planning. We've taken a different approach than previous planning commissions, and we work to simplify and clarify issues before we work on them. I think that local government should be more local, and to get more public participation, public needs to understand how it works. Thank you for that.
What are some of your plans for supporting our farmers?
Well, our ag industry contributes over $326 million to our economy. And as regulations increase, we need to be aware of their changing industry so that we can help keep them competitive and keep them as a viable piece in our portfolio, in our economy.
If elected to Whatcom County Council, what will be your top priority during your first year in office?
Well, something I've been working towards on the Planning Commission and will continue to work for is plain language. I think that our guiding documents are in much need of being simplified and organized. And there is a system that business and governments use called plain language, and it cuts frustration and saves time and money, and I think that Whatcom County would benefit to incorporating that, and I will work for that.
We have a huge issue at Cherry Point coming up, and you're not on the council right now. We have the Lummies that have, for 175 generations, lived at that very place. How are you going to deal with our interests, our 5,000 plus Lummi Nation people who are Whatcom County citizens in this issue?
Well, everybody has been weighing in on this issue, and as you know, the record is still being made, and when the record is built and the council looks at those issues, that's obviously going to be one of the issues they deal with. My husband Steve and I built a wonderful life here in Whatcom County. As a longtime resident and grandmother of 4, I understand the need to protect our environment while enhancing our economy for future generations. I feel the best way to accomplish those goals for everybody is to connect Whatcom County citizens with their local government. My name is Michelle Luke, and I would appreciate your vote in November. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Her time might have seemed a little bit short, but because she is running unopposed, she only got 4 minutes. Mike and I are going to get a little bit mean and cut you off since we are running out of time. So if you go over your 15-second question or over your 1-minute introduction, you will be cut off. So please welcome Bellingham City Council at Large candidates. Our first one up is Alan Brown.
Thank you. I'm really proud to be here tonight. It's pretty amazing for me to be stepping out of retirement into the political realm. My name is Alan Brown, and I'm running for Bellingham City Council at Large. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. We saw very hard times. We were real poor people. My parents instilled in me a sense of family and community, as well as a keen sense of financial responsibility. My family learned to live within its means. It's time for government to do the same. With fiscal responsibility and common sense values, we can focus on creating jobs as well as providing assistance to those less fortunate. I retired in 2006 after having spent 40 years as a firefighter, rising to the rank of captain. I handled budgets, I did innovative programs. Also, as a licensed mental health counselor, I developed programs that were cost effective for children.
Hi. My family has recently opened a business in Bellingham, and I can assure you one of our biggest problems was the city of Bellingham. And how would you change the city's attitude towards small business community?
That's a great question. I talked to several businesses. I have 2 friends that own businesses in downtown Bellingham, and I've spoken to you about your business and as you opened it. I think we need to redirect our efforts into cooperative efforts with the citizens. The Bellingham city offices have to be able to cooperate. Maybe we could develop new plans for permitting. The permissions could be based on a sliding fee scale if the city didn't perform, or in fact, the permit wouldn't even have to be issued until the construction was complete.
Bellingham has not yet banned big gulps, but they have banned plastic shopping bags from grocery stores and fireworks. How do you feel about those bans?
I think poorly thought out public policy is a crime. On both of those issues, number one, fireworks. The fireworks that were banned were relatively innocuous sparklers and flower pots. The other fireworks that were in play were already illegal with laws in place that were not enforced. As far as the plastic bag ban, if you look to Ireland, if you look to Seattle, you're finding that these cities actually use more plastic now that the ban is in place. So that tells you what I think of the ban.
The Gateway Pacific project is obviously going to have a large impact on the city of Bellingham as well as the rest of the county. The county council is legally required to duck the question. What's your opinion on the Gateway Pacific terminal?
You know, I'm not going to skirt around this. If you Google my name, it comes up Gateway Pacific, and I love coal. I grew up in a coal family. My grandfather was a coal miner. Bellingham is a coal town. It's not as dangerous as everybody says. I think they're blowing the data out through, I call it looking at it through rose-colored glasses of environmental zeal. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was curious what your plans are on developing the waterfront and your thoughts on how the GPT project might conflict with that.
Well, I don't really know that much about how it would conflict, but I think that the waterfront has to be developed in a similar manner as to maybe New York and Baltimore. If you look to the private models that were put in place by the Rouse Corporation, if private industry won't touch your project with a 10-foot pole, I think as a city project, you might want to reevaluate and look to some of the cost-benefit relationships that made it good in New York and made it good in Baltimore. Okay. I think that this is a good time to focus our attention away from partisan politics, away from the tendency to produce poorly thought out public policy which is based upon a single ideology. I think the time is right to move towards common sense, affordable solutions which are free from the influence of a council that speaks as the voice of a political machine. A dictatorship is defined as absolute power or overbearing control. It's time for an alternative voice on the City Council. I, Alan Brown, would like to serve you in that capacity.
I'd like to, I can't think of the word, I'm not a politician, but Michelle Luke is not running unopposed. She's running against Carl Weimer, the incumbent, who's not with us today, so I apologize for that. All right, I'd like to welcome up Roxanne Murphy.
Hello, everyone. I thank you all so much for being here, and I really thank everybody who's tuning in through KGMI Radio. My name is Roxanne Murphy, and I'm currently running for City Council to improve the quality of life in Bellingham. My commitments are that I will work to protect Lake Whatcom so that it provides clean drinking water for all of our generations. I'll work to increase the city's support of the local business community. I'll work to redevelop Bellingham's waterfront and the downtown, and I also want to improve public safety throughout the city. I'm the candidate who has the most experience in working to make local government really be effective for all of its people. I have a master's degree in public administration through the Evergreen State College, and I also have a bachelor's degree in communications from Central Washington University. That's where I learned about ranching and rodeoing. And lastly, I currently serve as an assistant administrator for the Nooksack Indian tribe, and that's what helps me understand how to create really effective government for all kinds of people. I ask for your vote in the August 6th primary election, and please support Roxanne Murphy.
Hi, same question. What are you going to do to improve the relationship with the business community in the city of Bellingham?
Yeah, I came from the city of Tacoma. That's a part of my previous work background. We guaranteed permits within 7 days if you had all your paperwork in. I really want to work to create streamlined permitting within the city of Bellingham. I want to create permitting guarantees for our business community. That's how you create a vibrant business community. That's how you create an attractive community.
From time to time, and currently, there's tension between the city of Bellingham and the county in terms of where people develop. What can you tell me about what you know about that and what you would do about it?
Yeah, I think development is a highly sensitive issue, especially when it comes to neighborhood areas, specific county areas, protecting farmland, and also the work of attracting small businesses and big businesses to specific areas. That's why I want to be really careful about the zoning to make sure that development occurs within the commercial cores of the different business areas of Bellingham, and I would hope that that would occur the same way in the county.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I've been in this community just a short time, a little over 2 years, and I don't profess to have the knowledge of the intricacies of the community to be able to represent them. There's a lot of things that are complex, And you have to have been here for a period of time to know what they are. You haven't been here that long. How are you going to be able to do the job?
I may be newer to Whatcom County. I've lived here almost 2 years, but I am certainly not new to local government, and I'm certainly not new to creating effective government. I have an extensive background in improving municipal government. That's the exact kind of thing I want to do for this government.
Hi, Roxanne. In the 2 decades that I've lived in Bellingham, I've noticed an increasing issues in public safety. What's your experience tackling public safety issues, and what do you propose we do in Bellingham?
Yeah. Well, in every neighborhood that I've ever lived in, I've worked so hard to improve public safety in my immediate neighborhood. And that's consisted of getting to know my neighbors, working with the local police department, reporting certain activities, and then also just cleaning up our streets the best way that we can. That's how I've secured so much support from police departments in every city that I've lived in. And also within regards to public safety, I'm so proud that I recently earned an endorsement from the Bellingham and from the Whatcom County Firefighters Union Local 106.
Hi, I'm curious what your plans are to help develop our waterfront and really use it to boost our economy.
Yeah, definitely. The waterfront is a really key issue. It's my top priority because I want to ensure that it provides clean drinking water for not just this generation, but for every single generation to come. And I think we can do so by creating community outreach to help people understand how they're a part of the water solution. I also would like to create more buffers. I want to work to improve the partnership with Whatcom County and whenever possible, create natural habitat restoration. In the long term, I'd also like to definitely work toward purchasing property to make sure that land isn't redeveloped so we can continue to improve the water quality. Okay, great. So once again, I'm Roxanne Murphy, and I have lived in Washington State for 37.5 years of my life, nearly 2 here in Whatcom County. I thank my ancestors for allowing me to say I'm an 8th generation member of Whatcom County. And I also hope that you'll please support me in this race for Bellingham City Council. You can find out more about me through www.electroxanne.com. I'm also on Facebook at facebook.com/electroxanne. And I hope you'll please vote for me in the August 6th primary. Thank you.
Thank you, Roxanne. Please welcome up Bob Burr.
I'm Bob Burr, the no coal candidate. I am the downer in tonight's program. The climate crisis is for real, my friends, and the culprit, number one culprit, is coal. There is overwhelming evidence that the climate reality will be devastating even if we act now. If we don't act now, it's game over for life on this planet. If you don't believe that, you're either uninformed or psychologically unable to cope with the grim reality. I am against coal burning, coal transport, and coal export. We need to leave the coal in the hole. And that is just one of many reasons that I am against the Cherry Point terminal. I will use my bully pulpit as a city councilman to speak out against coal and put every obstacle in the way of it that I can.
I think I want to get a little broader than coal. You know,
okay.
There's a lot of businesses in town that have nothing to do with coal.
Yes.
So what are you going to do to help those guys?
The question was?
What will you do to improve the private business community relationship with the city council and the city staff?
Okay. I am a retired corporate executive and entrepreneur. I have many friends who have dealt with the city of Bellingham, and it is not a pleasant experience, particularly for the small businessman. My background is in research. I was head of research and development for the Prudential in Newark, New Jersey, where Alan Brown comes from. I will use my research expertise and my customer satisfaction expertise to bring to the small business community of Bellingham a more user-friendly city council.
I had an open mind 15 seconds ago.
I think I'm well informed on climate. So you really want to tell me that I'm a psychological nut, or do you just plain want to lose my vote? I'm very, very liberal, and I really have serious questions about the climate warming religion. Go ahead, Bob. What will you do about the city?
I want to lose your vote. Yep. If the evidence is just overwhelming, 98% of the scientists agree on it. If you think 98% of the scientists are engaged in some conspiracy theory, I can't help it.
Do you think the city of Bellingham has enough parks?
I moved to the city of Bellingham because I felt that the parks it had were fantastic. My realtor was very smart in taking me by Whatcom Falls Park when I first moved here. I think we have a better park system than most cities, and I think we do have enough parks. That said, I would like some parks on the waterfront, but in case the waterfront comes up as a question, what I want is a working waterfront that will pay living wage jobs and not a waterfront for the wealthy. That means no marinas, no bellwethers, no high-rise, high-rent condominiums.
Out of time. Okay, we're out of time, I guess.
I'm Bob Burr. I'm running for City Council at large. I'm a lot more than coal, but I think that the Cherry Point Terminal is a huge issue, and I don't think the city has been paying enough attention to it. You can look at my Facebook page, Bob Burr for Bellingham City Council, and see how I stand on a whole host of other issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Let's welcome up our Bellingham City Council Ward 4 candidates. We'll start with Clayton Petrie.
Hello, my name is Clayton Petrie. I'm running for the Ward 4 Bellingham City Council seat to ensure that current and future generations have access to clean water, fresh air, and a good job. Lake Whatcom will always be on my priority list. Runoff has been a problem for too long, and I'll focus on restoration projects proven to reduce pollution into the lake. Local business provides the jobs and revenue for Bellingham to be successful. When business does well here, it lifts us all economically. We need to attract companies that will put Bellingham to work. The waterfront redevelopment is our chance to create a beautiful job space with abundant public waterfront access. Good planning will provide more customers in the downtown area and help strengthen our business core. I understand the importance of balancing infill with the preservation of neighborhood character. I work locally as a freelance journalist and community consultant, and my wife owns and operates her own business in the downtown Bellingham area.
Hi, Clayton. Same question. What specifically would you do to improve the business climate in the city of Bellingham with the staff and the city council?
Well, it's not really the role of the city council people to work with staff, but it is the role of the city council to work on policy and to work with the administration to improve problems that you do have. And we do have some problems. It's well known. I think that the current administration is working hard to streamline the permitting process and to encourage businesses to stay here and to attract new business. Some things I think we can do is ensure that we have a proper zoning in place for people so that there's adequate room for these businesses to move in. And we also have a large proportion of our future job space that hasn't been annexed yet that I think we should probably take a close look at, annex, and get that working for Bellingham.
The city of Bellingham water plan brings a significant amount of Nooksack River water into Lake Whatcom with phosphorus loading. Do you think that the city should bite the bullet and improve their equipment, or should they go with a plan that loads property owners with a heavy runoff phosphorus mitigation plan?
You know, that's been a contentious issue for the last couple years, and Bellingham has the chance to address the diversion dam when it rebuilds it in the fairly near future. It's already in some of the upcoming improvement plan, finance plans that they develop, and it's something that we will be able to address soon, and something that I think we do need to address because keeping the lake water clean is very important.
Would the movement of 1.5 mile long coal trains every half hour be incompatible with waterfront redevelopment?
I don't think it's incompatible with waterfront redevelopment as long as you plan for it. The plans that I have seen in place have over track bridges and things like that. I do think that having 18 trains coming through a day will put a bit of a damper on bringing new business in here, and I do share your concerns with that.
You spoke out against the reconveyance to County Council. Will you explain your position?
Yes, I think it's very important to conserve our resource lands. Farmland, forestry are both the same kind of land, and just because the City Council wants to do something doesn't necessarily make it something that they can and should do. The good part about the reconveyance lands is that people recreate there now, and they'll continue to be able to recreate there no matter what happens.
Is there some kind of a perspective that you could bring to the Bellingham City Council that is not already on the existing council?
Yes, I believe that I would bring a new issue or a new perspective to the City Council. There's been some recent ban votes that I think the council hasn't addressed what they're actually trying to ban. For example, with the recent family fireworks celebration ban, we've said we don't like the big bombs and the rockets, which are already illegal. So how is stopping sparklers and fountains going to fix anything? We don't have the enforcement in place. We're short on police officers already. There's city reports that tell us that. So what did they do? They didn't do anything to fix the problem at hand. My name's Clayton Petrie, and I'm running for the Ward 4 Bellingham City Council seat, and I would appreciate your support and vote. You can find out more about me at claytonpetrie.com and on Facebook at Clayton for Council. There's options to volunteer. You can put signs up. You can donate. And I would like to invite everybody to my kickoff. It's on July 1st, 5 to 7 at the Big Idea Lab, downtown Bellingham. Thank you.
Thank you, Clayton. Please welcome Pinky Vargas.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Pinky Vargas, and I'm running for Bellingham City Council, Ward 4. I love Bellingham. It's a beautiful city. Here we protect the environment, we care about family, community, and quality of life. I'm passionate about being Bellingham's steward. And with your support, I'd like to bring my energy and action to City Council. I believe in protecting Lake Whatcom water quality, ensuring real progress on our waterfront, and supporting our local businesses. Through my work as an energy efficiency outreach manager with small builders, cities, counties, and residents, I ensure our city is on a sustainable path towards economic prosperity. I believe we must ensure Bellingham is a place where we can all live, work, and play. I'm also grateful that I have been endorsed by Mayor Kelly Linville and council members Stan Snap, Kathy Lehman, Jean Knutson, and Seth Fleetwood. My website, votepinkyvargas.com.
Hi, Pinky. I'm curious as do you have any ideas about improving the relationship with the business community?
I sure do. I'd love to improve the relationship with our business community. I happen to be on 5 of our business organizations, and I also work with our contractors and our electrical and our builders, and I hear their pain a lot. I've heard it for years, and I really want to improve that relationship, make it easier for them to do business, have less ambiguity in making motions and having progress so that our businesses can thrive and we have more jobs to offer our locals.
Would you bring some sort of perspective to Bellingham City Council that is not adequately represented on the current council?
Well, I think I'm certainly going to bring my energy and action to City Council. I also think I'm going to bring my experience in with the business community and that relationship and those partners, and bring that and hopefully be their representative at City Council. I also am a volunteer in the arts community, and I'd love to bring a little bit more arts to our City Council.
Same question regarding the Department of Ecology proposal on phosphorus loading. Do you support homeowners paying $20,000 to $150,000 per lot for phosphorus mitigation, or would you push the city to improve the filtration, the larger plant there?
Water issues are extremely complicated, both in the city and the county, and I can tell you that I am trying to educate myself a little more so I can answer those questions and be very confident. I don't know the answer to that right now, but I promise you that I encourage anybody who would like to help educate me so I can understand what your views are. I would like to learn them.
Did you really do your speech on your iPhone?
It's easier than pieces of paper, so yes, it's a lot easier to carry it around on my iPhone. It's efficiency, right?
I'll ask you the same question. Do you feel that 1.5-mile long coal trains every half hour will be incompatible with waterfront redevelopment?
I don't think it will help prosper our downtown development and businesses by having that many trains go through the city every single day.
I got permission to ask another question. I just did a public disclosure on the stormwater outflows from the city of Bellingham, and your coliform counts are real high on some of them, especially around Lake Padden. I'm a farmer and I get nailed when my coliform counts are high coming out of my pasture. I'd like to see the city do more in enforcing the people pick up their dog manure and their cat manure and, you know, start acting like there's a problem instead of ignoring it. Like, the farmers are not being able to ignore it out in the county, so if we're going to clean up Puget Sound, we're all going to have to do it.
I agree with you completely. We all have to do it. It is all of our responsibilities, residents, businesses, live around the lake or not, that we all have to clean up for ourselves, and it is behavior change to make things better for all of us. Yes, it's on my iPhone. My name is Pinky Vargas. I'm running for Bellingham City Council, Ward 4. And I believe that Bellingham is a place that we all have to ensure is a place we can work, play, and nurture our families. My website is votepinkyvargas.com. Facebook is the same. And I just want to thank everyone for their political participation, those here and those on the radio. Appreciate that, and I'd be honored to serve your city. I ask for your vote in November. Thank you very much. Pinky Vargas.
Thank you, Pinky. Due to time constraints, we are going to bypass Michael Lillyquist, but please visit him afterwards and ask him as many questions as you want. He was kind enough to step down, so thank you very much for doing that. But please go see him afterwards to ask him any questions. Yeah. So we'll skip ahead to the Bellingham School District 501 Position 4 and start with John Blevin.
Hi, my name is John Blevin. I've loved dancing on this floor, and I thank you for having this forum every year. I'm running for school board because I'm concerned about the loss of neighborhood schools. Apparently, the recent plan of the current school board is to get rid of Larrabee School because it doesn't fit the criteria that they believe schools ought to fit. And I'm very concerned that we're going to lose all of our neighborhood schools one by one. Neighborhood schools are really important. Kids can walk to school. Parents can walk their kids to school. Parents have a chance to interact with the teachers, and the teachers know all the kids. I'm really a supporter of small neighborhood schools. Thank you.
You know, I've heard that homeschooling is really increasing in the city of Bellingham. Are you concerned about that, or do you have any feelings in one way or the other?
I'm not concerned. I think there are lots of different learning styles. I'm a big advocate of experiential learning, where kids actually go out and get dirty and take that knowledge back and apply it with their education.
Standardized testing is a huge issue in Washington State for our schools. Do you support the sort of high-stakes standardized tests that have been implemented in the last 10 years?
Well, this is a tough question because this is really a state question rather than a local question. What I personally believe is we ought to be spending more time in the classroom. Teachers ought to be teaching, not teaching to a test. When you start testing 2-year-olds to get a pretest and then testing them in high school, you gotta ask what your priorities are. Maybe a good compromise would be for school districts to take 100 kids, test them in the 2nd grade, test them at high school, get some kind of notion whether they're having effective teaching. One of the things that I don't think that Bellingham schools do well is that they do not teach to the broad spectrum of kids. They're not really addressing kids that will end up working with their hands. They're focused on kids that are headed for college. And I can say this, I've got one of my granddaughters was a valedictorian last year at Seaholm. That's great, she's wonderful, she's smart. There are lots of kids that are smart in other ways. They're good mechanics, they're good plumbers, and we need to have that happen if we're going to have economic strength in this country.
So, is there any hope in terms of reopening or keeping Larrabee School open? It's going to be open next year, then they want to close it. Is part of your running the possibility of getting on there and perhaps getting a third vote to keep the school open?
Well, I certainly love Larrabee. I have 2 kids that teach there. I've got 2 granddaughters that went through there. I have 2 daughters that went through there, and I was a PTA president of Larrabee. So yeah, I do have a little bias. I can tell you that my 2 daughters, that all of those kids graduated that have gone through Larrabee, all of my daughters. And they're all very smart, they're all very dedicated. The school seems to work fine for them. I'm very concerned about indebtedness, and I'm very concerned about rebuilding all of the schools where you have to take shiny yellow buses to deliver the kids to school, and the parents have limited chances to work with their kids. I realize pots of money, we were talking about pots of money before. One of the problems in education is you have a pot of money for school buses, and you have a pot of money for teaching kids. I'm old enough now, so I'm really not into different pots of money in this particular area.
International Baccalaureate Schools in Bellingham, Common Core. Do you support the collective approach to education? Is that an issue for you? Is that something that you think needs to be dealt with?
I lack the information, and I'd be happy to talk to you later about the particulars of what you're talking about. I believe I sent one of my daughters to France for a year. She couldn't graduate with her class. She had to go to Running Start because she didn't meet the criteria of the school district. I think that's wrong. I think kids need lots of life experiences early, but I don't know the particulars of what you're talking about. My name is John Blethen. I'm running for school board. I come from a family of educators. My mother was a school administrator. I've got 2 daughters that are teachers. I've got a strong interest in small schools. I've got a BA from Antioch College in education and an MED in industrial arts from Western. I hope that you vote for me. John Bleffin for school board. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And let's welcome our last candidate, Hugh Beatty. Beatty, thank you.
Pronunciation is optional, really. Hello, I'm Hugh Beatty. I live in Bellingham for 40 years, and I'm a small businessman. I'm a locksmith. I have a small business with my son and myself. And I live in the Happy Valley neighborhood. The Happy Valley neighborhood has 3 schools in it: Seaholm High School, Happy Valley Grade School, and Larrabee Grade School. All 3 of those schools have been slated to have serious things happening to them in the future by the Bellingham School District. And I don't think they've done enough planning. They just want to put a bond issue up and they want to do some things. And we've seen Wade King been built recently out near Lake Padden. They have like 2 people there that can walk to school. Everybody else gets bused. So we need better planning. Is that my time?
In your view, what's the key to unlocking the Larrabee situation?
It's a matter of 3 votes, and if John or myself get on, that'll be 2 votes, and then maybe somebody else will shift or retire. There is another election in 2 more years. It can wait. In fact, the whole thing can wait. You know, if they spend some serious time planning for the next couple of years, the bonded indebtedness would come down and we'd have better schools in the future.
Same curriculum question, International Baccalaureate, Common Core. Are you familiar with these? And do you see that as being critical for students?
I'm not familiar with your question either, sir. International Baccalaureate would mean, I assume, somebody that has been around to a few countries and learned something, and then they get a degree, right? You show me some more on it, and I'll be in. It sounds interesting. Yeah.
Hi, Hugh. You said there are planning problems. So what are your plans? Briefly.
Well, we need to involve the neighborhood in the process of, for example, Happy Valley School, right? It's a school that was designed and built in the 50s, and there's quite a bit of land there. They could build something behind it. They say that's what they want to do and then tear the old one down, but they need to design it better this time. So they're not doing it in another 50 years. Now, we've got all kinds of rooftops with no solar on it, but the school district is paying money for electricity every year. And they can incorporate some solar into it. They can incorporate better energy savings into the district buildings. And just by spending a few years planning and using the city planning department a little bit more. You know, we've got Seaholm High School also. They want to completely redo that, and so by getting the neighbors, the graduates, the people that have lived there for years involved in planning, we'll get a better product in the end, and people will be happy with it. 30-second wrap up. Okay. At present, there's something like $80 million bonded indebtedness for the school district. It's coming down every year, but let's let it come down a little bit while we plan for a better school district. We've rebuilt quite a bit of Bellingham schools. There's 14 grade schools, 4 high schools, and 4 middle schools. And most everything is pretty good, except for Happy Valley. So now let's do a little planning in Happy Valley and do it right.
This is KGMI Bellingham.
Just like to thank our sponsors again, Elizabeth Bennett, Bellingham Kiwanis, Nancy Larson, Bellingham Kiwanis, Ken Knuckles, Bellingham Kiwanis, the Kiwanis Club of Bellingham, Larry Helm from Rome Grange, Glenn Hawley from Rome Grange, and myself from Rome Grange. There's refreshments downstairs. Please come down and visit with your candidates more.